your English. Shadowing practice. Today, we're going to dive into some common IELTS speaking Part 2 and Part 3 topics. We'll be focusing on building your vocabulary and fluency, especially for B1, B2 level learners. Listen carefully to the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Try to mimic my speech as closely as you can. Remember, consistency is key, so let's get started. Our first topic for today is about a place you've visited that left a strong impression on you. I'm going to describe a place, and then we'll discuss some related questions. Describe a place you have visited that has left lasting impression on you. You should say where it is, when you visited it, what you did there, and explain why it left such a strong impression on you. Okay, I'd like to talk about a small village called Hallstatt in Austria. It's truly one of the most picturesque places I've ever seen. I visited Hallstatt a few years ago during the autumn season. I remember it was late October, and the weather was perfectly crisp and cool. The leaves on the trees were turning beautiful, shades of red, orange, and gold, which made the scenery even more stunning. My trip to Hallstatt was part of a longer European tour. I traveled there by train and then a local bus. The journey itself was quite scenic, passing through charming towns and lush green valleys. Once I arrived, I checked into a cozy guest house right by the lake. The village is nestled between a crystal-clear lake and towering mountains. It looks like something straight out of a fairy tale, with its traditional wooden houses and narrow winding streets. During my stay, I spent my days exploring the village on foot. I walked along the lakeside promenade, taking countless photos of the stunning reflections on the water. I also took a boat trip across the lake, which offered incredible panoramic views of Hallstatt and the surrounding Alps. One afternoon, I visited the Skywalk, a viewing platform that extends out from the mountain, giving you breathtaking views of the village and the entire valley below. It was a bit scary, but absolutely worth it for the scenery. I also enjoyed trying some local Austrian dishes. In the quaint cafes, I remember having some delicious apple strudel and a hearty goulash soup. The atmosphere was incredibly peaceful and relaxing. It felt like time had slowed down. There weren't many cars, people mostly walked or cycled, adding to the serene vibe. Hallstatt left such a strong impression on me for several reasons. Firstly, its natural beauty is simply unparalleled. The combination of the lake, mountains, and traditional architecture creates a unique visual harmony. Secondly, the tranquility of the village was really striking. It was a wonderful escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. I felt a deep sense of calm there. Finally, the historical charm of the place was fascinating. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and you can really feel its rich history as you wander through the streets. It felt like stepping back in time. I often think about going back someday. Now, let's move on to some related Part 3. Questions about tourism and travel. Why do you think tourism has become so popular in recent decades? Well, I believe there are several factors contributing to the rise in tourism. Firstly, improved transportation has made travel more accessible and affordable. Flying to different countries is much easier and cheaper than it used to be. Secondly, the internet and social media play a huge role. People see beautiful destinations online and are inspired to visit them. Travel bloggers and influencers often showcase amazing places, making others want to experience them too. Also, as people's incomes have generally increased, in many parts of the world, they have more disposable money to spend on holidays. Finally, I think there's a growing desire among people to explore different cultures and experience new things. It's a way to broaden one's horizons and learn about the world. What are the advantages and disadvantages of living in a popular tourist destination? That's an interesting question. Living in a popular tourist destination certainly has its upsides. On the positive side, there's often a vibrant atmosphere with many cultural events and activities. You usually have a wider variety of restaurants, shops, and entertainment options. Tourism can also bring economic benefits, creating jobs and supporting local businesses. For example, local craftspeople or food vendors can thrive. However, there are also significant disadvantages. Over-tourism can lead to overcrowding especially during peak seasons. This can put a strain on local infrastructure, like public transport and waste management. It can also cause prices to increase, making it harder for locals to afford housing or everyday goods. Sometimes, the original charm of a place can be lost due to commercialization, as shops might cater more to tourists than to residents. So, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Do you think tourism will continue to grow in the future? Why or why not? Yes, I definitely think tourism will continue to grow, although perhaps with some shifts in how people travel. The human desire for exploration and new experiences seems to be a fundamental one. As technology advances, virtual reality might offer new ways to visit places, but I don't think it will ever fully replace the real thing. More and more people globally are gaining access to travel, and the ease of travel is improving. However, I also believe there will be a greater emphasis on sustainable and responsible tourism. People are becoming more aware of the environmental and social impacts of travel, so future growth might focus on ecotourism and supporting local communities rather than just mass tourism. So while it will grow, its nature might evolve. Our next topic is about learning something new. Let's imagine you've recently learned a new skill or started a new hobby. Describe something new you have learned recently. You should say what it is, when and where you learned it, how you learned it, and explain how you feel about learning this new skill. Okay, I'd like to talk about something new I've learned recently, which is how to bake sourdough bread. It's a skill I've wanted to acquire for quite some time. I started learning it about 3 months ago, right at the beginning of this year. I mostly learned it at home in my own kitchen. The process takes a lot of time and patience, which suited being at home. I mainly learned it through a combination of online resources and a lot of trial and error. I watched numerous YouTube tutorials from various experienced bakers. These videos were incredibly helpful for understanding the different stages and techniques, like how to feed the sourdough starter, how to knead the dough, and how to shape the loaves. I also read several blog posts and online recipes, comparing different methods to find what worked best for me. Initially, it was quite challenging. My first few attempts were, well, not very successful. The bread was either too dense, too flat, or it didn't rise properly. It was a bit frustrating, but I was determined to get it right. I learned a lot from my mistakes. For instance, I realized the importance of using high-quality flour and maintaining the correct temperature for the starter to be active. I also learned that patience is absolutely crucial. You can't rush the fermentation process. I feel really proud and satisfied about learning this new skill. There's something incredibly rewarding about creating a delicious loaf of bread from scratch. The smell of freshly baked sourdough filling my home is just wonderful. It's also become a bit of a meditative process, for it requires focus and attention, which helps me relax and distress. Moreover, it's a practical skill. I can now bake fresh, healthy bread for myself and my family, which is a great feeling. It's definitely a skill I'll keep practicing and improving. Now, let's explore some Part 3 questions related to learning and education. Do you think it's important for people to keep learning throughout their lives? Absolutely, I believe lifelong learning is incredibly important. The world is constantly changing, and new technologies and ideas emerge all the time. If people stop learning, they risk falling behind or becoming less adaptable. Continuous learning keeps our minds sharp and engaged. It can also open up new opportunities, both professionally and personally. For example, learning new skills can lead to career advancement or allow people to pursue new hobbies and passions. It also helps us to understand different perspectives and stay curious about the world around us. So yes, it's vital for personal growth and societal progress. What are some challenges people face when trying to learn new things as adults? Adults often face several challenges when trying to learn new things. One common issue is time constraint. Many adults have busy lives, juggling work, family responsibilities, and other commitments, making it difficult to find dedicated time for learning. Another challenge can be a fear of failure or lack of confidence, especially if they haven't been in a learning environment for a long time. They might feel embarrassed to make mistakes. Furthermore, some adults might struggle with adapting to new learning methods or technologies, especially if they are used to traditional classroom settings. Access to resources can also be an issue. Not everyone has the financial means or geographical access to courses or materials. Finally, simply forming new habits can be tough. It requires discipline and consistency to stick with a new learning endeavor. How do traditional learning methods compare with online learning methods today? Traditional learning methods, like attending classes in a physical classroom, often offer a more interactive and social experience. Students can directly ask questions, engage in group discussions, and build relationships with peers and teachers. This can be very motivating for some. There's also a structured routine that can help keep learners accountable. On the other hand, online learning offers incredible flexibility and convenience. You can learn from anywhere at any time, which is ideal for adults with busy schedules. It also provides access to a vast array of resources and experts from all over the world. However, online learning can sometimes lack the personal connection and might require more self-discipline. It can also be isolating for some learners. I think both methods have their strengths, and often a blended approach combining elements of both works best for many people. Let's move on to our next topic, which is about special events or celebrations. We all have events that stand out in our memory. Describe a special event you have celebrated. You should say what the event was, when and where it took place, who you celebrated with, and explain why it was special to you. I'd like to describe a special event I celebrated a few years ago, which was my best friend's engagement party. It wasn't my own engagement, but it felt incredibly special because it was for someone I care about deeply. The party took place about 3 years ago. In the summer, it was held at a lovely garden restaurant in the city center, which had a beautiful outdoor area, decorated with fairy lights and flowers. It was a perfect setting for a joyful celebration. I celebrated this event with a group of close friends and family members of my best friend. All the important people in her life were there. We had organized it as a surprise for her, which made it even more exciting. Seeing her reaction when she realized what was happening was priceless. Her fiancé had proposed a few weeks before, and this party was a chance to officially celebrate their wonderful news with everyone. During the party, we enjoyed a delicious buffet dinner with a variety of food and drinks. There was a lot of laughter, good conversation, and music playing in the background. Several people, including myself, gave short speeches, sharing funny stories and heartfelt wishes for the happy couple. We also played some fun games, like a quiz about the couple, which was very entertaining. Towards the end of the evening, there was a beautiful cake, and everyone raised a toast to their future happiness. It was a truly warm and joyful atmosphere filled with love and excitement. This event was special to me for several reasons. Firstly, it was wonderful to witness my best friend's happiness and to celebrate such a significant milestone in her life. She is like a sister to me, so her joy was my joy. Secondly, it was a rare occasion for all our closest friends and family to gather together in one place. Everyone was relaxed and happy, which created a fantastic atmosphere. It reminded me how important these connections. Finally, the element of surprise made it unforgettable. Planning it together and seeing her reaction created a truly memorable experience. It was a day filled with love, laughter, and great memories. Now, for some Part 3 questions related to celebrations and traditions. How do celebrations vary across different cultures? Celebrations vary quite significantly across different cultures, often reflecting their unique history, beliefs, and values. For instance, in some cultures, birthdays are celebrated with grand parties and gifts, while in others, they might be more subdued or not celebrated at all. Wedding traditions also differ hugely. Some involve elaborate ceremonies lasting for days, with specific rituals, traditional attire, and music, while others might be much simpler. Religious festivals like Christmas or Diwali are celebrated with distinct customs, special foods, and family gatherings that are unique to those cultures. Even the way people mourn or remember the deceased varies greatly. These differences make observing and participating in celebrations from other cultures incredibly enriching and eye-opening. Do you think traditional celebrations are still important in modern society? Yes, I absolutely think traditional celebrations are still very important in modern society. In a world that's constantly changing and often feels very fast-paced, these traditions provide a sense of continuity, identity, and belonging. They connect us to our heritage and to previous generations. Traditional celebrations often bring families and communities together, strengthening bonds and fostering a sense of unity. They offer a break from daily routines and provide opportunities for joy, reflection, and cultural expression. They also help transmit cultural values and stories from one generation to the next. Without these traditions, I think societies would lose some of their richness and distinctiveness. So yes, they play a crucial role in maintaining social cohesion and cultural identity. How might celebrations change in the future? That's an interesting thought. I imagine celebrations might evolve in several ways in the future. With increasing globalization, we might see more fusion celebrations, where elements from different cultures are combined. Technology will likely play an even bigger role. Perhaps virtual reality will allow distant family members to attend events more realistically, or AI might help personalize celebrations. There might also be a shift towards more environmentally conscious celebrations with less waste and a focus on sustainable practices. For example, people might choose eco-friendly decorations or locally sourced food. As society changes, some new types of celebrations might emerge, perhaps celebrating scientific achievements or new forms of community. However, I believe the core human need to celebrate milestones and gather with loved ones will always remain, just the forms might adapt to modern times. That brings us to the end of our shadowing practice session for today. I hope you found these discussions helpful for improving your English speaking and listening skills. Remember to practice regularly. Pay attention to the details of pronunciation and intonation, and, most importantly, have fun with it. Keep listening, keep shadowing, and I'll see you in the next session.